Okay, so today, folks, we have a fantastic one for you. It's perfect for those hot winter days in Canada. It's Cajun chicken Caesar. This is probably, obviously, one of my favorite salads, but probably the most unhealthy. But man, is it ever good, and sometimes you just have to indulge. So here we have one of the best Caesars you're ever gonna eat. Let's get into it. The ingredients that we're gonna need to make our absolutely amazing Caesar salad is something for the croutons. So we're gonna take some of these cheese sticks and we're gonna cut them up, drizzle them with olive oil, salt and pepper. We're gonna bake them in the oven until we have croutons from those. We have some bacon, which I'm gonna get in the pan right away. We have some chicken. I'm gonna do a Cajun theme to this. So I'm gonna season the chicken with Cajun spice and probably the bacon when it's close to ready. For the dressing, we're gonna need 2 egg yolks, 3 cloves of garlic, some Dijon mustard, salt, pepper. I have anchovy paste here, so I have about 1.5 teaspoons of that. Or you could use 6 anchovy fillets, it would give you the same amount. Parmesan cheese, a lemon, and then we're gonna use olive oil as the emulsified ingredient to make the dressing. Of course, we have our romaine lettuce. Okay, that's the one you want to use for Caesar. It's romaine lettuce. Let me say that again. And yeah, romaine lettuce. First thing we need to do is get obviously the bacon and the chicken going. It's going to take the longest. Then we can work on our dressing and our croutons. Let's get started. All right, so let's get our bacon going first. I've got that on medium heat. We'll just get that in a non-stick pan. Now, obviously, this is a lot of bacon. Some of you are thinking, some of you are thinking it's not quite enough bacon. Either way, we're just making bacon bits, so whatever's left over we can put in the fridge and we can use in other salads or in other dishes as you go along. Second thing we need to get going is our chicken breasts. I'm just gonna put some oil in here and get our chicken breast seasoned up. Just gonna season the chicken before I get it in the pan. I'm not removing the tenders, I'm just gonna cook them with it. Just make sure it's all seasoned. When you're seasoning your chicken, you wanna get right in there. Make sure all that seasoning is all over everywhere on that chicken. I'm just using a little bit of olive oil so it's not dry. When it goes into the pan, it'll still stick to the chicken breast. We're just gonna sear off this chicken breast and then we're gonna put it back in here and finish it in the oven. Make sure you lay that chicken down away from you so you don't splash oil on yourself. Unless you enjoy splashing oil on yourself, then go ahead. No one listens to me anyway. I'm just mixing this up to make sure that they don't stick together in big clumps. So while that's cooking, I'm just gonna get the croutons going here. So I'm just gonna cut these in half. So after you're done cutting these in half this way, just cut them again in half this way, and then cut them like this into little crouton-sized pieces. If you prefer your crouton a little more rustic looking, you could cut your cheese stick in half, like we originally did, and then you could just tear pieces off like this. At the end of the day, it's going to be the same thing, but it just depends on how you want your salad to look. Get a nice good sear on that chicken. We got all of our cheese sticks cut up, so we're just gonna give them a healthy amount of olive oil, a little bit of salt, and pepper, as y'all know how much I like pepper, and we're just gonna give them a tiny little bit of Cajun spice. Make sure you mix that up. If you don't like using your hands to do stuff, too bad. It works best. And we'll get those in the oven. When you put your croutons in the oven, I'm not sure entirely certain how long it's gonna take, but let's say it's going to be 10 to 20 minutes. Let's just set a timer so we don't forget about those, because croutons can go from very crispy to extremely burnt really fast. So I definitely should have used the bigger pan. I'm just going to correct that now. Okay, so our chicken breasts are going to be seared on both sides. We're not cooking them all the way through on the frying pan, so that's probably good enough. Get those in the oven. We'll check them in about 8 minutes. We'll probably have to put them on for another 5 or 7 minutes or so afterwards. Okay, our chicken and croutons are in the oven going. Our bacon's cooking, so we're gonna get the dressing going now. So we're gonna start by turning our garlic into a paste. The easiest way to do that is to remove the skin. So you get your garlic peeled and then give it a good rough chop. Then add a bit of salt to it. This is what's gonna allow you to basically turn it into a paste. As you can hear, our timer is going off, so we're just going to check those croutons, make sure they're not burning. Nope, they're looking pretty good. We'll just give them a quick stir. We're gonna put this on for another 5 minutes for the chicken breast, and then we'll check those temperatures, and then we'll put more time on for the croutons. And we'll go back to pasting our garlic. If you don't want to turn your garlic into a paste this way, it does take a bit of time. You could probably use some type of blender to do this, or you could use a mortar and pestle. But we're just doing a little bit of garlic, so this is gonna be enough for this amount. All right, I think we're ready to start combining our ingredients. Our timer's going off again, so we're just going to check our chicken now. So we're looking for something between 160 and 165. It's still gonna cook a little bit after we take it out of the oven. We're just under right now, so we're gonna leave that in for another 5 minutes. Check those croutons while we're in here. Looking good. Okay, so we'll get our garlic, our Dijon. Basically, we're just gonna add all the ingredients in here. We're gonna mix them up, and then we're gonna slowly drizzle the oil in there until we have a mayonnaise-like consistency. Okay, so we need our lemon juice. I forgot to juice that ahead of time. All right, our chicken is definitely done now. So that can come out and start cooling down. Just check on our croutons again. Ooh, they're getting there. Turning to a golden color. Maybe another 2 minutes. We'll just go 2-minute increments now. Bacon's starting to get a little bit crispy. So we can go back to zesting our lemon. I want to save this. I want to put it in the Caesar salad. That's why. So if you want, you can juice your lemons ahead of time. It would make it a lot easier than trying to do it while you're cooking everything. Bacon's almost there, guys, depending on how crispy you like it. I'm just gonna add some Cajun spice now to it. Check on our croutons. Oh yeah, perfect. There we go. Our bacon is basically there. We'll get our lemon juice in there, and then we can start emulsifying. We're gonna use about half a cup of oil, and you could use a blender or a food processor for this. Okay, about halfway through, when you get sick of doing that, is when you wanna grab your hand blender and use that instead. Don't forget to add your Parmesan cheese. Probably about half a cup of this too. You could easily just save yourself a bunch of time and go buy some Caesar dressing from the store. But honestly, this is gonna taste a hell of a lot better than anything you can buy at the store. And I'm gonna throw the lemon zest in there. I definitely recommend using a food processor for this. Okay, well, our dressing is made. It's definitely looking a little yellow, but that's because we used olive oil instead of vegetable oil. If you used a vegetable oil, it would probably come out whiter. And plus I hand mixed it instead of using a food processor, so it might turn out a little bit different than yours unless you hand whip your dressing, and I truly don't recommend that. So I'm just gonna get my lettuce cleaned and cut. Okay, so I'm just gonna make some cuts like this way in my lettuce after I washed it, and then this way, and we have nice bite-sized pieces of lettuce. And when you're cutting this part off, just make sure you have all of that hard part that's in the center out of there. You don't want to eat that. Okay, so we got our lettuce chopped up in our bowl. Now, if you want to do this fancy, you could have just halved those romaine hearts and put them on the plate, brushed your dressing on, added some Parmesan cheese and called it a day. But you know, we're gonna be throwing some bacon bits in here. We got lots of Parmesan cheese. We got our homemade croutons, and I don't think it would cut it that way. So we'll get a good couple big handfuls of our croutons that we made. Some of our dressing, just give that a toss. We got some bacon bits, lots of bacon bits, I should say. I think just a little bit more. Now that we have our salad mixed up and ready to go, we just need some chicken that we're gonna cut up, and then we can plate it up. So just take your chicken, just cut it into slices. Of course, you can cut your chicken any way you prefer. Get some salad into a bowl, some freshly grated Parmesan, a little bit of pepper, and get your chicken in there. Just a little drizzle of your dressing on the chicken. And there you have it, Cajun chicken Caesar. Perfect for a hot summer day or a hot winter day if you live in Canada. You know what I mean. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Okay, I'm gonna try the Caesar salad that my father just made. Looks pretty good. Okay, so my thoughts on it. It's got a nice crunch to it with the croutons and the lettuce. Croutons are maybe a tiny bit overdone, but still they're not like burnt or anything, but they could be a little bit less crunchy. But they'll hold their crunch after, you know, if they've sat for like a day or something like that. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the horseradish taste of the Dijon mustard, but I guess you could find a recipe that doesn't use Dijon. But overall, it's really good. And the Cajun chicken just adds a nice bit of like, almost like spiciness, but not really like spicy. Just a nice like spice kind of flavor. Hi, Mittens. Here you go, Mittens. Overall, really good. I'd say probably 8 out of 10, just because of the horseradish, really. But it's good.